So we'll see how much of today's daf we do because it's a pretty short daf, unless you like arithmetic. If you like basic arithmetic, then today's daf is for you. We'll see how far we
As
get.
long as it's basic.
It's basic arithmetic, but
Okay, I got enough in the butt.
you see the size of the Rashis?
No, I didn't open the Gemara yet. I've got in there.
We left off by the story, right? By the terrible story.
Yeah, you said to continue. I meant to last night, but I didn't.
Yeah, so Shagazra will start 3 wide lines down. It's a little bit of the middle of a sentence.
Where is this, Chesam
Beis, 3 wide lines down.
Chesam Beis.
Yeah, 3 wide lines down.
Chesam Beis.
Tes, yeah, Chesam Beis. Yeah, today's daf is Tes, correct? I hope.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
No, excuse me.
Chesam Beis is not that far off.
I don't know if he's saying Ches or Tes.
That's what I'm saying.
Tes.
No, but then you started Rabban. Now you started making me doubt whether today's daf is Tes.
And I'm not. I for sure don't know what today's daf.
Just listen if there's phlegm at the beginning of the letter.
Yeah. You know what? You saw this video of the Chafetz Chaim going around, of the story of this Chafetz Chaim, saw a grandson saying that Chafetz Chaim said that his children won't see Mashiach, but his grandchildren will. Did anybody see that? Nobody
Yes.
saw it?
Yes, you sent it to me.
Oh, somebody said it on the whatever, Sean. You're not missing anything. You didn't see it, but whatever. So I told my kid it sounded terrible. He asked me, "Do I believe it?" I said, "I don't know. We got people in the Gemara in today's daf, and every time I say today's daf, they roll their eyes like again today's daf, right? They think that's." And I said, "Well, in today's daf, we have bigger people than the Chafetz Chaim. I'm sorry to say, saying Mashiach's coming, and he ain't here." So.
Yep.
I don't know if that's the most terrible parenting in the world or the best. I don't know where it falls, but whatever. It's both. It's sad, but yeah. Anyways, so the Gemara says, hold on, what's something?
So where are we saying from? Whoever wants.
3 wide lines down. 3 wide lines down.
It's down.
You see what, David?
3 wide lines down.
As much as they need. Yes.
They need to clean your ears.
Wait a minute. 1 second.
Hopefully, when you're my age, you'll have better hearing. But meanwhile, that's my hearing I got.
Can somebody let the Galach know where we're up to?
The who?
Spent too much time at the baseball games.
Yeah, everybody's going there.
No, because I said that. He's saying because I said that because he was the one serving the food at the baseball games.
Right. So you
Right.
find a good line, and Rabaran wasn't on to appreciate it.
Correct.
Okay, so it's really in the middle of a story. So basically, Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi told Rebbe from his father that Bezdin stopped 40 years before the Churban Abayis. Bezdin went to Galus, and they stayed in Chonos, and that was it for the 40 years before the Galus. So he asked, what's the halachic ramifications and nafkamina, whether they left for 40 years. So the Gemara thought it was for Knas, right? That maybe it's for Knossos, because once Bezdin leaves, right? Once Bezdin leaves, maybe they can't, there's no more smichas, and then there's nobody to give Knas. So the Gemara says, no, it can't be, because Knas was not batal from Klal Yisrael. Why not? Because of the story we're about to say. So we're 3 wide lines down. Yeah. Anyway, Shagaza Malchus Harisha Gezerah, because the Malchus Harisha, which is referring to Rome, made a Gezerah. Kol Asaymech Yaharig. They said anybody who gives smicha will die. V'chal hanismach Yaharig, and anybody who gets smicha will die. V'yirsha Saimchin Ba Techrab, and any city that they give the smicha in will be destroyed. Utchum shesaimchen by Yaakar, and even within the tchum next to that city, they'll wipe out. Right? So Ma also Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava. So what did Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava do? He went and he sat between two mountains. In between two cities. So meaning far enough away that it wouldn't be a problem. Meaning they wouldn't be able to go after either city. Between two Tchum Shabbos and Bein Usha le Shafarim. Between Usha and Shafarim. All right. I don't know why I couldn't just say the last part and not the first few parts. All right. The Samach, Sham, Chamisha, Zakanim, and whatever it is, he gave smicha to 5 Zakanim. The Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Elazar ben Shamua. Rabbi Avia, Mosef, Afram, Nechemia, and Rabbi Avia said even Rabbi Nechemia. Kivan she'kiru behem oivim, since they recognized the enemies, Amar lahem, meaning the enemies recognized them, meaning they were caught. So, I'm sorry, Kivan she'kiru behem oivim, once the enemies recognized them, so Amar lahem, he said to them, Bani Ratzu, or Banai actually, because it's plural, Banai, run. Amar said it says to him, Rebbe, what's going to be with you? Amar lahem, Hareini mutal lifneim, ke'evan she'ein lehoichem. I'm going to be in front of them like a stone that can't be a stone that can't be turned over. Meaning I'm not running. Right? So, and we had this Gemara in Sanhedrin. I don't know. I didn't remember it too well, but it was cool. Yeah, but the shayla is, why didn't he want to run away? So the Pashup shot is that he just didn't have the koyach. Right? Some want to say that he hoped that he would deflect it to him and he would be the fall guy, as they say. Right? Okay, whatever it is. So he stayed there. So
I remember.
Yeah.
See, Yaakov, I had a pilot Shaid worked for me in the garment center. This is many years ago, and I said, "Cyril, why didn't your parents go run away? He was 18 at the time, whatever, when the Mukham." He says, people in Europe, they were old, young. They felt old, young. They said they can't go, they can't run.
Really?
Yeah, and they weren't old, his parents at the time, whatever it is, 40, he was Poland 41, whatever it was.
It's a ruach.
Right.
Same concept. Same concept as Mitzrayim. Ristama.
Right, no, you're right. It was just part of the. But you think that that's a pshat here?
I don't know. Here, this is talking about one Adam Gadol. I don't know.
Right. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's interesting though. So they didn't move from there. They didn't leave from there until they stuck into his body 300 spears of metal spears. And they made his body like a kfara. I'm not sure why it needed to say that. Right?
Don't we have this also by Yecheskel, Yeshaya, somebody else, right? 300.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot who it was.
Yeah. Who was it?
I'm blanking.
One
of the Nevi'im, right? Or Malachim? It can't be a coincidence. 300 spears
right.
each time.
Right, but I'm not sure why is it saying Lulani Shabazel and then they made his gufa kfara like a sifter. Why are those 3 words necessary? I'm saying if you stuck 300 spares into him, we got the picture. All right, so I'm not sure. Okay, so it's not okay, but yeah. So, but anyway, that's the story. So you see that there was that you see that there was Dinei Knossos because he gave smicha even though they weren't supposed to. Now the question is, I didn't have time to research this. I have some vague memory of this. Was it mutter what he did? I mean, obviously it was mutter. I'm saying, would you give up your life in order to continue smichas of Klal Yisrael?
Who are we talking about? Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava? I don't have a Gemara in front of me. Who are we talking?
All of them.
No, but who was the Rabbi?
Yehuda ben Bava.
Wasn't he one of the Asara Rugi Malchus?
I think so.
I think it was Nigzer on
I'll
him
look
that
it
he
up.
would die.
I'll look it up.
So I'm saying, what are you saying?
He chose that this would be the way, that it would be through giving smicha. But the Gzeira was already there. It was already Nigzer on him that he would die this way.
And he knew the Gezer was nigzar on him, and he decided
Yeah,
once
I
I'm
think
going.
they all did. Yeah. Once Rabbi Shmuel went up, Me'acheri Pargud, I think he was able to tell each one or pass down the generations exactly who would be when.
I don't know how you could say that according to regular. I don't think you could say that according to regular.
No, I don't think you.
Without the esoteric. What?
I don't think you're allowed to say that under regular conditions. But the Meister of the Gemara brings a brisa, the Tierra Bishmal Atzmai. That's what happens. Once they said Nigzar Gzeira, then they knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, but I don't see. You can't say. I don't know. Bottom line is for smicha. Can you be macha? Can you put your life in danger for that? I don't know. I have a hard time understanding that you'd be able to.
No, I don't think you can under normal circumstances. That's what I'm saying. Once Nigzar Gzeira that they were going to die that way anyway, he chose that this would be the way to die instead of not giving smicha.
I hear. I don't know. Okay. Anyways, fine. So I'm gonna Nachum about Yitzchak light time Dine Knossos. So okay, so we're getting back to the kasha. The kasha was it's Dine Knossos. So Ella Shalai light time Dine Knossos. Ella Shalai don't Dine the Fashis. They wouldn't be done Dine the Fashis. My time. Or why don't they want to be done Dine the Fashis? And since they saw that there's a lot of killers, and they couldn't keep up with the murderers to be able to right? Meaning they were, how do you call the word? Overwhelmed. They were overwhelmed by and they wouldn't be able to judge them. Right? So Amru, so they said, Mutav Nigli Mimakum Lamakum Ki Hechi Delay L'chayvu. Better that we should go to Gullus. Then in order that they shouldn't be chayiv. Yeah. Now,
I had
again,
a big fight with Shmuel Grossman this morning about this.
Okay, what?
Well, I'm not going to use the language I use, and maybe you won't get upset. They're not doing their job. They're supposed to control society. So we're all voting Republican because we say the Democrat, they're not controlling the crime. But you see, you give up. You don't control the crime. The Chachamim gave up. They gave up. To me, they gave up their responsibility. What does this mean? There's too many criminals. So maybe, but it's not too many criminals. What does that mean?
I didn't think about it. You mean you're saying this is mamish like the Democrats?
Yes, yeah.
I didn't think about that. I hear that.
Yeah, I also didn't understand this. I had the same question.
No, but this is, I was saying the psushta. The question I had, the question is very shver. What is this? I'm saying, but pshat is that they wouldn't be able to don it anyways. That the way I understand it. No, I'm just not saying Rabbaran's psushta to the situation now with crime, the way the Democrats approach it is interesting. But what I'm saying is that either way, they were not judging it. Right? They weren't judging the case. They just Pasha couldn't keep up with it. So the question is, now that they're not judging it, so is it better to just have them wait in limbo, or should they just not get involved at all? That's what I think they were trying to figure out. Right? Now there is this one. It is a fascinating Yad Ramah. I don't know, Rabban, did you hear this? No, I shouldn't say it because I'm going to be overlift naiva. This is gonna be this could mamish be live neighbor. The art scroll. I looked. The art scroll brings on the bottom the Yad Raman Sanhedrin. I glad I had a Yad Raman in the city. I don't have it with me. Right? If they would have stayed in the Beis Hamikdash, the Dayanim, the Sanhedrin, would have been chayiv because they were not. They would be chayiv in Shemaim because they were not trying the cases, because they weren't getting it done. So Mamela, to get it off themselves, that's why they disbanded. Don't tell me you like that, Teretz.
Not really.
Does the Olam understand that, Teretz?
Hot dogs, so what do I know?
I'll say, did anybody understand that, Teretz? But again, maybe the pshat is.
I don't understand anything you're talking about. I don't know what Gershon was saying either before.
Okay. I don't know.
But he was one of the 10 martyrs.
He was, okay.
He was one of the 10 martyrs, and he was
we
killed
call
because
he
was killed. So I'm sorry, correct. I'm just reading from the art. I'm reading, and he was killed because he didn't want. He wanted to make sure Smicha continued.
Yeah, okay, that's our Gemara.
Yeah.
Right. So Gershon's trying to say that he knew he was destined to death anyway, so he may as well.
Yeah, he did. What's it called? On the deathbed of Shmuel Cotton, Rabbi Yehuda's teacher predicted the death of Rabbi Yehuda. And his colleagues at the hands of the Romans, his predictions, unfortunately, all came true. See Saita 48b.
Yeah, but that doesn't give him allowance to do something that's not halacha necessarily.
It goes on. I have to read it later, but it does say it was predicted.
Sounds interesting. Sounds interesting.
It's part of the shot in the Bryce of Tira Bishmal Atzmai. The whole thing was not
right, but Gershon, that whole thing historically doesn't make sense. They weren't killed together.
Oh, it was different generations.
Right.
But once Rabbi Shmuel went up, he knew exactly who was going to die, which ones, and when. Whatever that means to us, I have no idea either. But that was passed down from Rabbi Shmuel.
I hear. Okay, I don't know. But getting back to this other thing, I'm not sure. I think the pshat is that once the Chachamim saw that they're not going to be able to kill the Reitzchim, to kill the murderers, so once they weren't able to kill them, then they might as well limit the damage. That's what they might as well limit the damage, either to themselves or to the Reitzchim.
It says that he went in between two towns, not to have the towns destroyed.
Right, exactly. It's a Gemara.
Yeah,
that's Gemara.
I was reading for. Okay, fine. I wasn't fine.
Yeah. Art Scroll, believe it or not, Art Scroll doesn't make everything up, Naftali. Some of them actually have sources. Yeah, and Baruch Hashem, for our memories work for like 2 minutes, so we actually remember that it's this Gemara. Yeah. Anyways. Okay, so I don't know what the pshat in this is. Meaning, what's the pasuk that it says that you should do with the word that the Sanhedrin say, right? Melamed, meaning, but min hamakam ahu, it has to be from that place. So melamed shamakam garim, it's the makam that causes Sanhedrin to be able to paskin, not the Sanhedrin themselves. So they have to be able to be in the Beis Hamikdash where they're supposed to be. All right. Okay. Now we get into a lot of math. So we said on the top of the in middle of the daf, we said that 180 years before the Churban Abayis, right? That's when the Romans took over. Right, 180 years. So Gemara is saying Me'eh v'shmeina v'suloi. It was only 180 years. It wasn't more than that. Vatani Rabbi Yossi B'Rebbe said. Now we start today's daf. Malchus paras b'fnei Abayis shloishim v'arba shana. The Persians were in charge of the Bayis 34 years. Malchus Yavon b'fnei Abayis me'eh shmeinim shana. Malchus Yavon, they took over from Persia, so that was 100. That was 180 years, right? Malchus Chashmenoi b'fnei Abayis me'eh v'shalosh. So the Chashmenoim had it for 103 years. Malchus Beis Hordus me'eh v'shalosh, and Hordus had it for 103 years. And then the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, right? That gives you, if you do the math, it comes out to 420, which is the second. That was how long the second Beis Hamikdash was around. Mikan ve'ela, from then on, go and calculate how many years it's been since the Churban Abayis. right? Meaning, if it's unfortunately for us, the Churban doesn't take on much. I mean, that's all we daven for. Not all, but we daven a lot for it. But it's very difficult for us to appreciate it, whatever it is. So, but they wanted you to, like, when we send out a chassan invitation, let's say, so you say it's been 2,000 years since the Churban Abayis, so 2,100, whatever it is. Right, so that's what you should do, right? Meaning basically, it's saying that the way you should date your years is based on how many years it's been since the Churban. I don't know. Maybe Taka, if we did that, we would feel the Churban a little bit more. I don't know. But anyways, we don't do this. I don't know exactly how that Rashi says. I think it's Rashi. Yeah, so he says it was in Eretz Yisrael, and in Chutz La'aretz they didn't do this. Okay, depending on the situation. All right, so either way, what's the Gemara's kasha? Alma Masan V'Shis Hava. That means that they were 200, it was 206 years. And you say it was 180, meaning the Chashmonaim, even though they had control, it was really the Romans that were still in charge. The Chashmonaim got back control of the Beis Hamikdash, but they were still sort of under the Romans' jurisdiction, right? In Hurdas Avodah. So, meaning those last 206 years, that's what it was. It was 206 years that the Romans took over before, not 180 years. Ella, so what answers Ella Essen, but Shishnin, Kamav, and
It's number 26 again.
Well, that's the same 26.
Right.
That is a 20. Yeah, you're right. It's 26. Yeah. Ella Essen. Okay, so it's a discrepancy. 180 to 206 is a discrepancy of 26. That basic math I could do. Right? So Ella Essen, right? Ella Essen, B'Shishnin, Kamav, B'Merusaya, B'Ad Yisrael. Those 26 years that we learned in yesterday's daf, that they got along, when they were not Meshabed Klal Yisrael, because it is like a chashavlu. They didn't calculate it. Kishapashta Malchus Arisha, so they didn't calculate it as when the Malchus Arisha took over Klal Yisrael. So when he says 180, it's subtracting those 26 years when they actually they did not cause stress onto Klal Yisrael. Yeah, fine. Okay, so that's fairly straightforward. So Amar Papa. Now, based on how you calculate dates, so now if you get confused in how to date things, so the Gemara is going to give directions how to make sure that you're okay. So Amar Papa. Itoi hai Tana. If a Tana makes a mistake, right? It doesn't mean a Tana like from Tanoim. It just means a rabbi. If a rabbi makes a mistake, and he doesn't know the pratim, how much it is, meaning he doesn't remember how many years it's been. We said that you're supposed to calculate things from the Churban Abayis, but he has no idea how many years it's been since the Churban Abayis. Right? So Rashi says, meaning, yeah.
What
are you saying?
It's now the Dodgers have been in LA longer than they were in Brooklyn.
Is that so?
Yeah, it happened. It happened a year or two ago.
Everybody has their churban that they count from, right? So Rashi says the mistake is only going to be made in the years. Like most of the time, when you ask somebody what time it is, most of the time we know the hour. At least I think. We're just asking how many minutes is it closer to the end of the hour. Most of the time, most people are aware of the hour. It's the minutes that we're not sure. So here we're saying, it's the single, it's not the single, not the single, it's the double digits that they're not sure. Meaning, I know it's 1,300 years from the Churban. I just don't remember it's 1,028. Is it 46? That part, the smallest number, he doesn't remember. So he's trying to figure out. So the Gemara gives a fairly simple way of calculating it. So again, this is the Tana, meaning the learned people, trying to figure out how many years it is since the Churban, right? So then what should he do? L'shayli l'safra kamaksiv. He should go ask a Sofer. How many years is he counting? Because the Sofrim counted from when Yavan took over, right? And Yavan, if you do the math that we just had, Yavan took over 386 years before the Beis Hamikdash, right? Because they had it was yes, because Paras had it for 34 years. 420 minus 34 makes 386. So they counted it, the Seifrim counted for whatever reason. Then you get into the whole CE, BCE, and the ED, all that stuff. I don't know all those different numbers. But basically, they used to count from when Yavan took over, right? So Memela, they were counting, that was 386. That means they were 386 years ahead of the Churban, right? So meaning if the year after the Churban, the Tana would say this is the first year after the Churban, and Yavan would say this is in the year 387, right? So we basically, the Cipher should, and now the Cipher forgot how many years it's been. So the Shaila L'Safra, I'm sorry, the Tana forgot. So the Shaila L'Safra Kamaksiv, go ask the Cipher how many years he's doing. V'nitvi allow Esrin Shnin. Then he has to do is add on 20 years, right? Meaning, so if the Cipher says to him, it's the year 60, so you're going to add on 20, so it's going to be 80. The smallest digit to be 80. And then he's going to find out his calculation. And the simon for that is Zeli Asam Shana B'Veisecha. It's been 20 years in your house. Meaning, so that's how you remember that you need to do 20 years. Right? Now, what does 20 get you? So 20, because he's what you get, because it's 300. What did I say? 386? How are we getting to 380? It was 380, right? I'm missing some years here. Where are we losing the 6 years? Oh, yeah, right. Right, that's the next Gemara. That's the end of, that's tomorrow. That's the next stuff. Right. Because we don't count 6 years of Yavan's ruling. For whatever reason, we'll see on the next stop as Hashem that we don't count 6 years. So basically, they're always 380 years ahead of us. Right? Once you get it, I think it's fairly simple. Basically, from the first year of the Churban, when we started counting, it's 1 year since the Churban, anybody counting from the Yavanim is going to say 380. Right? So if you just want to know, if you want to round it off, so you just take 20, add it to 380, meaning let's go with an example. So he says it's 485. You ask the guy's trying to figure out how many years it is since the Korban. So you ask the Yavani, and he says, I have in my calculations, it's the year 485. So all you got to do is add on 20 to that, and then you know that it's going to be 105 years since the Korban, right? Because it's only the hundreds we're not worried about. The hundreds we're assuming that Tana knows. He just doesn't know the smaller digits. So the smaller digits is always going to be 100 more. So, I mean, whatever, it's going to be 400 more. If you round it up 20, it's going to be 400 more. And it's a simple way to calculate it. Okay. And the simon is Eliasam Shana. And then we say the opposite. Itoi Safra. If a cipher makes a mistake, the Shaila Tana Kama Choshev, ask the Tana, how many years is he counting since the Korban? And then subtract 20 years, and then he will find his calculation. With Simone, Safra Betzira, Tana Tosfa. The way you remember this is the cipher goes, Batzir makes it less, and the Tana adds to it. Fine. Tana Dvei Elio. Tana Dvei Elio said, Sheshis Alafim Shana Havia Olam. The world is 6,000 years old, right? Shnei Alafim Sayu, it's 2,000 of nothing. Shnei Alafim Torah, 2,000 of Torah. Shnei Alafim Yemaisa Mashiach, and 2,000 is Yemaisa Mashiach. Sharabu, and with our many Averas, Yatumin, Meshiyatumin, we already, what went out from it, meaning we're in the year, we are 5785. So we're already 1,785 years into the 2000s of Mashiach. We had this in Sanhedrin also, right?
So how many are we in again?
The first
17?
2,000 years was nothing, no Torah.
No,
in
no,
the
I know.
world.
How many years into Moshe Mashiach?
How many years? Well,
Yeah,
the
you just said.
maximum years is 6,000. So you got another 215.
And the Torah was given how many years into the first 2,000?
What?
How many years was the Torah given? The Torah was given what year?
The Torah was given in
19 something, no?
1948, right?
So it was given before the 2000s of Torah.
No, because there's a way to. Well, the Gemara is going to ask. No, it was
okay.
given later than that. 19. What was 1948?
That was Avram Avinu when he was born.
Okay, so
Right.
when was the Torah given? Article has it
2000.
in one of the Svarim, they have a chart. I don't know which
Well,
one.
if you go right, you see this big Rashi. All you got to do is go through the Rashi.
I'll go with the article chart.
You could do that. Zev Bold sent me a handwritten chart from Rabbi Yeager from when Shayoshu learned Avodah Zarah 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago.
Could you send that to me?
I'll put it on the chat.
I still have my Gemara from that year.
You have it? Taka?
Yeah, I was using it up until I was using it up until I think yesterday.
The Torah was in 2248.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
2448.
That's going to be the Gemara's going to ask this now. The Gemara's going to ask all this. I guess you're sure you don't have the paper from Rabbi Yeager there.
I didn't supposed to be in Rabbi Yeager's shir.
Yeah, but it could be they gave it out. I don't know.
So I don't have it. The answer is I don't have it though.
Yeah. Okay. I'll post it. Anyways, so we're saying again, the 6,000 years. We're holding, just for context, we're holding in the year 5,785. So the first 2,000 it was empty. The next 2,000 years was Torah. The next 2,000 years is Mashiach, meaning there was potential for Mashiach from the year 4,000 and on. And we, unfortunately, are not right for it, so we don't have it. Okay, so the Gemara says, from Torah when are you counting 2,000 Torah? If you say it's from Matan Torah, ad hashta leka kulei hai. You don't have that. You don't have that. Why? It says tre alfi prati dahai alfa hu dahavi. It's really it's 2,000 plus more years into that 1,000. Like Naftali just said, the Torah was given 2,448 years. So how do you get that the year 2000 was Torah if Torah wasn't given for another 448 years after that? That's the Gemara's kasha. Naftali's mechamed to the kasha. Ella meve'es no. So meve'es nefesh also b'charon. The thousands. The Torah started from when Avram Avinu went on his Kiruv program, which is the year 19. Let's go. We learned. We have a what do you call it? A tradition, as they say. The Avram, but he shot the Bar Chamshin and Tartiyava. In the year 1948, so Avram was 52 years old. Yeah. So now Kama Batam and the Tani Tana. How much are you subtracting what the Tana said? Arba Me'av Arbarim V'Timnaya Shnin Havit. We're subtracting 448 years. Kemayanas Be'may Nefesh also B'Charon Ad Matan Torah. When you start from the Nefesh also B'Charon until Matan Torah, Arba Me'av Arbarim V'Timnaya Shnin Havit. So it's 448 years. So there is your discrepancy. Right? That's your discrepancy. Okay, so those are the years. That's how you calculate. If you want Rashi, the Rashi of Ha'oid, the V'chein Ayanas goes through the entire history based on years of Klal Yisrael. All right. Okay, so Amar Rav Papa. Rav Papa said, if a Tana is not sure and he doesn't know the prati, like we said before, he knows the hundreds, he just doesn't know the singular years. The Shaila L'Safra Kamiksiv, he should go ask the Cipher what year is he putting down in his shtaris. V'nitvi allow arba v'timnei and put another 48 years. Or mishkaf le'lechumrei, and then he'll find his calculation. Right? You see, Manach, and the simon for that is on Talmud Beis, Arbaim Shemaina Ir. There were 48 cities for the Levium. Right, so that's your simon to remember to add on 48. Okay, and then the opposite. Vita is Safra, and if the cipher is not sure what year it is, and the Shalu Tana Kama Katani, ask the Tana how many years he's got in his calculations. But Nifzer Minayu Arba Shemaina, subtract 48, and then he'll have his calculation. The Safra Batzira, the cipher goes less, and the Tana Taisva and the Tana adds on. Okay, that's their calculation. Now, Amar Rav Huna Breder of Yeshua. Rav Huna Breder of Yeshua said, if a person doesn't know what year in the Shemitah cycle he's in, Taisus on Amar Aleph goes through that. It's not so pashut that Avram Avinu was 52 years old. Right? Right? Okay, we don't have time to do the Taisus. The Taisus goes through that whole thing is not so simple. Right? Okay, so then Amar Rav Huna Breder Yeshua. Now, so basically, we keep Shemitah as a D'Rabbanan nowadays. We keep Shemitah. We don't keep Yovel anymore, right? Even though it seems like from this Gemara that we should be able to calculate Yovel pretty well, right? Right? Okay, so but a guy needs to know how many years in the Shemitah cycle it is. Now, I don't know why you can't ask anybody, right? Shouldn't people be aware of when Shemitah is? And the guy's not sure. He wakes up one day and says, "Hey, maybe it's Shemitah today." I mean, go look out on the farms and you'll see. We're not talking about a Chutz La'aretz, right? So anyway, so Haiman Deloyo the Kama Shem Yeshua Omer. So Nitfi Chad Shabbos. This is what you do. You add on 1 year, right? You add on 1 year to the calculation. Meaning, if you're making the cheshbon, how many years has been since the Churban? So now the Churban, at least according to this Gemara, was the year after. Shemitah was the year after the Churban. I'm sorry, did I say Shemitah? No, the Churban was the year after Shemitah. So again, like we said on Amar, you're calculating from the Churban. So let's say it's been 150 years since the Churban. So when you're writing down, like it's been 150 years since the Churban, right? So that means if it's 150 years since the Churban, then that means it's 151 years since Shemitah. So basically, all you got to do is go over to a guy and say, how many years are you counting since the Churban? He says 150. So you add on 1, and now you have 151. And then he should calculate the klalim for Yovel, meaning Yovel is 50. I mean, again, he basically, let's say with 151. So then you go ask the guy, what? I'm sorry. You ask him, what year are you holding since the Churban? He says 150. Okay, so you add on 151. Then you calculate the Yovels. So how many Yovels do you have? So Yovel is every 50 years. So you have 2 Yovels in 100, right? So V'nesha Klala b'Yoveli, Uprati b'Shvui, and the small years for the Shviya cycle, so the Shemitah cycle. Nishkol Mimeya train, and what you do is obviously you subtract by 2, because Yovel is the 50th year, right? You have 49th year Shemitah, 50th year is Yovel. So in 100 years, you have 14 Shemitahs and 2 Yovels.
But 151 years, you have 3 Shemitahs.
You have 3 Yovels, correct.
Right. So why are you
That's
going
what you got to
2?
do. You break it down. I'm just doing 100. I'm just doing 100 stam. It's
Uh-huh.
breaking it down by the hundreds. We're breaking it down by the hundreds. The Gemara is trying to keep it simple for us common folk. Right?
This is not simple math.
Yeah, it doesn't sound
It is
so
simple math.
No. 4 plus 4 is simple math.
I'm telling you, if I could understand this, it's simple math. It can't possibly be any complicated math. But I'm not saying I understand it fully. But I mean, it's relatively simple, I think. Again, it's not Friday afternoon, and I worked on this a little bit before Friday afternoon, an hour before Shabbos. But I'm just so maybe that's why. But again, a guy, let's go simple. He says to a fellow, I'm trying to figure out when Shemitah is, right? So I go to a guy and say, how many years are you counting since the Churban? He says, I'm counting 150. Okay, we know that the Churban was the year after the Shemitah, right? So you add on one more year. Now you divide 100. So the Gemara is trying to break it down. So you don't have to do 151 divided by 7. That's complicated, right? So break down the 150 into hundreds, and then subtract 2, right? And then you'll know the breakdown, right? Again, you'll calculate the klal of yoivels, meaning hundreds, and then the pratim, the small years for Shemitah, tray, and then you take 2 years from each 100, and throw it onto the prat, meaning so you know that you have 49 years, you have 7 Shemitahs, right? So then you have 2 extra years per 100 years. So throw that on top of the Shemitahs and then divide the whole thing. And then you calculate the pratim b'shuva, and you know how many years are in the Shemitah cycle. These are the 2 years of Rav B'Kera Haaretz.
So
okay,
in your
disclaimer.
case,
1 second. In defense of the Olam, in defense of you and David, 7 was always very easy for me to divide and to multiply. Rabbaran knows the reason, because 7 is a touchdown. So 7, I had never had any problem in elementary school calculating 7s, right? 3s even I didn't like field goals. I thought that was a wuss to do a field goal.
So in your case of 150 years and you add 1, then you add 2, so you're in the 3rd year of the cycle. If the guy says I'm 150 years from the Churban, did I do the math right?
But I mean, the easy
year. You'll be in the 3rd year of the cycle.
Correct.
So I got the math right. Okay,
right, but the Gemara is trying. You're smarter than the Gemara. You just did it very simple. Do 151 divided by 7, and I got my answer.
I didn't do that. No, I didn't. I added the 1, and then I took the. I took the
3
I took the. No, you should take the 3. The 3 years.
3 ovals.
As you said, every 100 you add 2, right? So you added 1, then you add 2, and then you add 1 more. So you should be in the 4th cycle. 4th year of the cycle at year 150.
Well, it depends which way you're doing ad b'chlal, but yeah.
You should be in the 4th year of the cycle, according to what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying anything.
All right, okay. Now I'm going to divide to see if it comes out right.
Just take out your calculator, okay?
I'm doing that. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
It's funny. I had to, do we really need to know math anymore? I mean, this serious. If we just have a calculator. No, I'm serious. It's late, but is there any point in learning? My mother was complaining. She's a school teacher, right? She's complaining the kids don't know how to write. I said, Ma, why do they need to know how to write? Why? For what reason? Meaning, I understand they have to know how to write, but they should spend time in neat penmanship for what? So that they could type? I don't know. Whatever. It's a different ashkafic issue. Shine. But I'm saying is there any point in doing math nowadays? Most of the time.
The chat guy's writing that paper anyway.
That's true. They don't even have to think. Yeah.
I don't think it works with the calculator the same way. Okay, forget it.
Okay. Fine. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Okay, Amar Chanina.
You're supposed to try to figure out what year of the cycle you're in, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I did 151 divided by 7. It came up to 21 point something.
Yeah, no. So what's the problem?
How does that let you know you're in the 4th year of the cycle?
What's the point? The point what?
Hold on. 0.5714.
Point. Why?
I did 100. So maybe I do 150. 150 divided by 7.
That should give you
21.42.
Why 4.2?
You're doing solar math. We deal with lunar.
I don't know. I did 150 divided by 7, 21.42. Maybe my calculator's broken.
21.4 makes sense.
Right.
Okay, whatever. Shine.
Okay.
Amar of Tanina. Yeah, now here's what we discussed. If anybody was on at the beginning, the Chofetz Chaim, this Mashiach's coming, everybody gets all excited. But look, read this Gemara here.
This whole Gemara paskening the machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and the Tanna Kama, which year Yovel is, 49 or 50?
What?
There's machlokes Tanna Kama and Rabbi Yehuda, which year Yovel is, the year after or the year of?
Correct. That's a different machlokes. Correct. We mean that's this paskening this way, right?
This is paskening, yeah.
Yeah. Enochanami. Anyway, so listen to this Gemara. Sad Gemara. Amram Chanina. Achar Abba Meish Churban Abayis. After 400 years from the Churban, right? Im Yaimer Lachadim. A person will tell you, Kach Sadeh Shava Elef Dinrim B'Dinar Echad. I'm giving you a sale, a field worth 1,000 dinrim. I'm giving it to you for 1 dinar in Eretz Yisrael. Lo tikach, don't take it. You're getting ripped off because Mashiach's coming, and everything is going to revert back to the what do you call it? What's it called? You know what the Yerusha was from Yeshua. What's it called?
Stay Achuzah.
Stay Achuzah. Very good, Naftali. Very good. Yes, he's on the ball. I guess the math sharpened up your brain. Yeah. So stay, meaning everything's going to revert back. So even if you pay 1 dinar, you're getting scammed. But Masnisa Tana, the Brisa said, Achar Abbas Alafim Masayim Shloishim V'Achar Shana L'Briyas Ha'olam. After 4,231 years from when the world was created, if a person tells you, Kafel Chasad Shava Elef Dinar B'Dinar Echad, Al Tikaf, don't take it because Mashiach's coming. Okay, maybe now what's the difference between these two Brisas? You can be now Tlashnin. There's 3 years. That's the difference. The Masnisa Tafya Tlashnin, because the Brisa added on 3 more years to Reb Chanina. What's a pshan in the 3 years? I don't know, but but either way, both of them held Mashiach's coming so soon. Fine. Ahushtara, continuing with a little bit more math. Ahushtara the Avik Sibe, if there was a star that was written in it on Tamar Aleph, Shishnin Yisirta. For some reason, it was 6 years too extra, right? Meaning they brought it to the year, let's just because you use English years, they brought it 2025, right? But it was marked that the guy was borrowing money in the year 2031, right? The guy borrowed money in the year 2031. So clearly there's a scam going on here, right? You can't do that to a star, that a guy 6 years later, you're showing the star now that he borrowed money 6 years from now. So it's a post-dated star, and it's puzzle. So meaning you can't do anything about it until the year 2020. The guy wants to collect now with a star based in 6 years from now. So obviously you can't do that. The light tarif, and you can't use it. Tarif means literally to tear, meaning you can't use this star to collect the debt. Amar Nachman, so now said, "Hi Safa, Duknuk Sikasve." No, he was being medayik. In the 6 years and that they ruled in Elam, we don't calculate it. But he was calculating it from those 6 years. That's what we were discussing before. That Yavan, the Gemara before on Amar Aleph says 380 years was Yavan, and he was calculating 386. We weren't calculating when they were in Elam. It was Mane Kasve, and he was writing it properly. The Tani Raviyasi, 6 years. The Yavanim ruled in Elam, and after that, their Malchus went out over the whole world. Okay, we will stop over there. I hope it was semi-understandable. Tomorrow's daf, we have also probably from the most. Oh, Yeshua's not on. From the most famous Gemaras, and you are.
No, he's on. He's on.
I didn't see his face.
Yesterday.
I didn't see his face. It's okay, Yeshua. We'll end off a good week, Baruch Hashem, with tomorrow's daf. Is from the most famous Agada to Gemaras and Shas. That seems to be every day now. But
what's anyway. Tomorrow? Rebbe and Antoninus?
Tomorrow's Rebbe and Antoninus, yes. Rebbe and Antoninus. Yeah. Baruch Hashem.
I can't believe you had such a hafsaka from the shir that there was no good Agada to Gemaras all that time, because there can't be that all the Agada to Gemaras that we're hearing, you know?
Listen to the recordings. We mentioned you that this. Where are you? There's a famous Gemara.
Yeah, we covered you when you're not here. We covered you.